Hello, hello. I'm making this video as like a follow-up to the last video. As it so happens, I ended up on the same map with the same high-level player right behind me in like the same positions almost exactly. There's also a Flash here, the other highly rated player. So there's like some high-rated players in this game. Very interesting. I wanted to make this video again to just show some of the principles that I applied in the last video, how I tried to implement it this time, and it wasn't as successful because mainly because there's a higher skill. The enemies made it more difficult for it, but you can clearly see where the situation presented itself and where I was able to get a little bit of damage off on the economies, which is like what you want to happen. But Flash, you know, here, this player and what's his name, Kells here, they both hold like really well in this area for a long time. It makes it very difficult. It wasn't as much as a stomp as like that other game, but yeah. I think there was one more thing I wanted to say, something about how the last video, oh yeah, the audio was really bad because I had the music too high. I lowered that, so it should sound much better this time. You can actually hear my voice. So, you know, this time I'll go over some of the same principles. Perhaps the examples are not as good as the last episode or like the last video replay, but, you know, it's going to be very similar. I don't know how to turn off the spectator chat and stuff, so we're just going to have to play with that. So this guy, high-level player, same position, he's going to tech up, he's going to end the game for me. So I'm going to play in the top lane, and I am going to fight this other player, but you'll see that I'm going to try to apply the same principle of looking for defensive lines and then a hole to exploit. I'm going to do like the exact same thing, or I'm going to try to. And you'll also see that I'll try to put an artillery here this time to cover the location, because I went bots again, and bots do not have range against, you know, longer ranged enemies T2s. So, you know, you get that artillery to cover your behind. Okay. So, you know, I'm just going solar, low wind map, getting my constructor up here, and then having my commander leave, right? Once that thing's pretty much up, and so the production's all set up here. So the army's coming out now, covering the I'm gonna go slower now, okay. Covering the my engineer, because I'm gonna have my commander up here building these ones, and so this guy needs cover. So I right off the bat, I want to try this exact same thing that I did in the last like video, I guess, from your perspective, I guess, where I had 5 grunts or so just run in. I'm going to try to do that, but you're going to see what happens, because these are much more highly rated players. Like this guy is 28. I think last time he was in like the 10s. He's already moved his commander way up to cover this position, and notice how he's putting it right here so he can cover both chokes, unlike the last video. His army's also right in front, so he can cover both chokes as well. So it's making it much more difficult. So I'm trying to see if he's like on, if he's around. So I'm like making some moves here to see, oh, are you awake? Are you awake? Because otherwise I would try to poke and get a good trade here, but he's not. So I'm just gonna turn right back around. So now it's just like, okay, we're gonna go to the midline, and we're gonna have a more or less even fight. But I am going to try to go here because I want to, you know, push past the midline. See if he reacts. I'm going to have my army with my commander. You know, once your commander's in position, it's very hard because the D-gun is so powerful. Yeah, tech player doing tech things. Yeah, I saw he was making a move on my weaker army, so I just moved my commander. He's like, oh, I don't want to fight that D-gun. So, you know, it would be a bad trade for him, so that's why he's doing that. Definitely a more skilled player than last time. His commander is already in the front, you know, applying pressure, putting a line in the sand for me, 100%. Now, over here, I'm gonna try to split off a few and go right around, because, you know, try to sneak him in. Like maybe he won't notice. Okay. Unfortunately, this doesn't turn out as well as like the last video, but I think I get at least something out of this. Like, but it's not great because these are definitely high-level players. They really are good. I was actually kind of surprised that Flash here was able to get so much economy despite being absolutely pressured. Yeah, it was kind of weird. He got T2s from this player, the green player, sorry. He got it from the green player, and he was able to build fusion and some converters and just somehow get to a really high level economy from this position. But see, I'm trying to run these on, like run it through the hole that's like present here, but he's trying to cover. See exactly what I tried to say, talk about last episode, where if you see movements by the enemy, you try to follow it, right? But I saw that he was also following me, so I was like, oh, let's do a another wraparound. Okay, we're just completely ignoring his commander and all these defensive structures. Like, we don't want to fight this, right? So we're gonna try to hit behind. Now, unfortunately, I don't see what's up here. So if ideally he would have moved an engineer up here, and he would have had, oh, there's another hidden smiley face there, but ideally he had an engineer up here and 2 mexes that I could just snag, but you know, things are not going my way. You know, these are higher level players. You know, the strategy is kind of falling apart. They're adapting. But yeah, I believe these grunts got in. Was it? I think that was mine. Oh, someone's. I thought I could have sworn those were mine, but I was pretty sure I sent my own engineers at some point, or my own grunts at some point down here to get something from them. But you know, I just move them here. I didn't see anything, so I started trying to micro to try to get a okay trade. So it was like 1 for 1 here about. Yeah, this gets pretty cleaned up. If there were mexes here, this would have been like entirely worth it, but now this is just a mass donation. So yeah, back to the middle. I just want to talk about how Flash ate his factory, using his commander to build turrets at the front, right? And he had pumped out a ton of res bots so that he could revive units so that he wouldn't have to produce them on his own. And because of that, he's able to just go straight to these advanced extractors, and he gets the T2 from his ally, and the T2 constructor, I guess he got it already, but he gets the T2 combat engineer and is able to produce units off of that. So he doesn't even get a factory. He just goes straight into economy and army somehow. That was very interesting. Okay, so basically my push here failed. Like the whole didn't succeed, and then I tried to wrap around, didn't succeed. Okay, so now we go back into just the slow push. We have our aggravators or whatever, just attack the wings. He had the same idea, you know, high level players, right? I think he should have put his commander like closer to the front line, so it's even harder for these guys to push. But okay, now we have the exact situation that I've been waiting for to happen. There's a hole in the line. Okay, his army is now over here. Flash's army is over here, right? It's the exact same situation as in the last video, where you avoid their areas of power and you just go through the hole, exploit the hole in the line. That's pretty much it. So now we're able to get damage on Flash. Now, I do misplay slightly in that I should have adhered to my own principles, and when I see this army coming up, I should have just moved this way, moved towards his base. But I wasn't sure what was here. I didn't know he had no factory there. So I was just I see mexes. I saw a one of those constructors here, and I thought that's 200 metal right there. I'm gonna snag that, so I do that. So I got 1, 2 mexes, 3 mexes, what do you call it? A constructor turret, traded a little bit, and now we're gonna run up here. So we're avoiding, I thought he was going to have reinforcements here, and he did, so we avoid that, and we just go up here. And we waste a little bit of their metal, just a little bit. I don't know exactly how much this is, but, you know, if that's 1,500 and it was 10%, that's 150 metal that was denied, which is not bad. But that kind of pitters out right here. So it could have been much better if I had, I don't know, microed immediately to over here, but you know, when you don't have vision, you can't really tell. I guess I should have put it to my vision, but you know, I wanted to show what Flash was doing, which was very interesting to me at least. Because if you see that he's at 48 about, he's actually like completely out-ecoing his opponent. His lane opponent here. Up on top, it's like 25 to 25. Actually, a little higher. Could be rekilling somewhere, but it's about even here. About even. I am slightly winning because I am denying these 2 mexes right here. Just slightly winning. But it's about even still because he has, I don't know how many. It's hard to see with all this stuff here. I think 7 mexes. I think I also have 7 mexes, but I have T2 here. He also has a T2 starting up, so it's still even, but I'm slightly winning because normally this position is going to be even right here, just slightly better than I could be. And I've gotten damage on Flash, which is helping my player over here. Flash definitely a good player. I mean, he's a huge rating here. I know that bottom also does like really well at some point, but between these two players, but I just simply can't pay attention to everything. But just know that up here, I just wanted to like share some of the like principles that you could have applied. Like where there's a hole, you just flood it. If there's a hole, you flood it. So right now, I could have done that, but you know, you got to balance between holding the line with your commander and you know, flooding the hole here. Because I sort of know how, intuitively how much like army they have. So you want to have like army to counter their army a little bit. I could have probably split off like half this number of grunts, just literally run it right here, and Flash would have been like in a world of hurt. But you know, I'm just missing information. I just don't know what's going on. He probably would have responded because he would just see it right here and immediately respond or something like that. But yeah, these grunts not making the best use. I probably should consider that when I'm in these Rocketeer bottles, I should just send them downwards. All right, we're just gonna speed up because this is just I'm mixing up my words here, but this is just a stalemate more or less for a little bit. Again, I'm just paying attention to this top half to show what you might want to do in your game when you're frontline. Still very, very, very even or so. So he has the if you see fiends like this, don't be like completely alarmed, because sometimes they don't actually have T2 completely. They probably just ate their factory and are producing off this single combat engineer, which is, not, it's scary because they're T2, but it's not like the end of the world, right? You see Flash is doing the exact same thing. Sometimes I do that, sometimes I prefer not to. It just depends on the game, because right now I haven't gone T2. I really want to keep the pressure on this guy, just because I know this is a higher rated game. I don't want to be greedy. I just want to keep the pressure up a little bit here. Same rule, I'm just building these solar collectors and energy converters every so often to keep my income like on par. So I remember I take some bad trades against fiends. If you see fiends, just kite them. Don't do what I did, which is try to fight them by running into them. That's exactly what the fiends want you to do. Definitely kite them. Rely on your turrets, because the fiends are actually like really bad against the turrets. It's like literally in the description of the fiends, so just do that instead. Again, like Flash is doing really well. He's able to hold against like my little incursions, against brown incursions, like 4-inch, not brown, but like yeah. It's a much more even game than the last one, but I'm just trying to explain the same principles. Okay, so here's my thug switch, right? Because fiends do really well against grunts, but they don't do as well against thugs, so you just swap out to thugs. Yeah, you definitely also don't want to like push unless you're like fairly confident you can take the position, because otherwise you get a lot of reclaim on the enemy side. So I want to be defensive so that the reclaim is more closer to me. Okay, so our tech player is now producing his first army, or I guess whatever it is. Meanwhile, the opponent is also doing the same, but he's going for Sheldons, yeah. These starlights are pretty good. I don't know what to say. You definitely want to try to notice what's happening, at least with your neighbor, right? So eventually I'll see that these starlights are here, and I'll send army to try to cover them a little bit. But you got to do your primary job too, which is to hold this line here, I see him, I try to fight him, and this time I kite him. And look, it's a much better trade for me. He just loses a couple fiends, and I don't really lose that much. Maybe one thug, but yeah, I completely push that movement off. Okay, Yeah. Beans. Yep. That was a really interesting set of micro right there. He moved it backwards to dodge a artillery or something. Okay, but at this point, I see that there's a whole lot of army here. I see that it's really, really, really stalemated here, right? And I think on radar, this line is definitely visible to him. Let me go to his view. Yeah, he definitely sees that radar. I was thinking that these guys would not be in view, but they are. But he definitely sees that there's something here, so he knows he can't push that easily because there's a lot of turrets here. He has to have like a higher army than what army is here to beat this position, because you don't want to attack into defense. Just look at all these lines here, like it's just a really bad situation to run into that. So that's when I know I can send a little bit of army to assist here. So if you can, you assist. Don't have your army just completely sitting. If your units are doing nothing, see if they can do something, right? In my case, that these units can do stuff. So that's what we do. Right, we turn off player view. Let's go back. Okay. So admittedly, it's only Sheldons, so they can't really tank that well. A few thugs, but like I can only add the DPS, and they get EMP, which is probably by Flash here. He was probably intending to overrun this position, but this guy, our tech player, was prepared, and he has a lot of ticks coming in to try to cover for the mostly stunned Starlights. But I'm also here trying to add some DPS to this, so this welder dies a little sooner. Yeah, he's forced back a little sooner. So, if I had sent more forces, this probably would have been better. But the fact that I'm here does change the dynamic in our favor a little bit, because these guys are expensive, and it looks like he doesn't want to produce that. He wants to produce other stuff. It looks like he's building some aircraft or something. I don't know. Okay. We also see a hole. It's not a strong hole. It's not a big one, because I know he's still here. So, I'm thinking like, these guys can come in with me here and assist. But this is looking really bad because of all these artillery coming in. So I changed my mind. Oh, speed up. Still like really stagnant up top, right? So I'm just gonna reinforce his position just a little bit, because I don't know what he's got, but I know he's reinforcing at least a little bit. Again, I'm just looking for opportunities to try to run by. But this time I'm just supporting the Starlights here to make clear of these. Yeah, just support the Starlights, and now Flash is taking a lot of damage. It's looking bad for him. So at this point, I'm actually thinking I want to take this position. I want to crush this. Because what's going to happen is, I know that we're really deep in here, right? That's going to cause Green to look at that, right? He's going to send his army. In fact, he's already sending army. So these guys are kind of sacrificial right now. They're just going to go in and get what they can, although they don't really achieve much. What I'm going to do is going to have all my units route to over here and attack this position when these guys are out. That was the plan. At least that's what I think. Currently, that's what I was trying to do. I don't remember entirely. Sometimes you forget details, but the idea is there. See, he comes down, we get our units over. And we try to prepare for this location. We start focusing up here because we know that this guy is suffering losses. So now this guy's suffering losses, so now we try to focus onto this player. What is that menu here? Okay. Whoa, it's going really laggy here. Okay. We're gonna slow back down to 1. Don't do this. Always kite fiends. This is why my attack failed. Okay. The timing was correct. The dogs were not in position, but definitely micro. Don't run into fiends like that. So this attack kind of fell flat just a little bit because of Miss Micro and not paying attention. The lesson we learned today from this, at least, the new lesson is don't run into fiends. That's what they want you to do. Okay, so next time we're gonna try that again. Also, at some point, I see that he's built this here, and I don't know why you would build a reactor all the way, like, right in front of the enemy. Like, they're literally so close. I eventually take this out. Like, seriously, just build your reactor over here. So, I do fail in attacking this one time, or 2 times, I forget. But, yeah, I don't know, just don't build your reactor here is all I can say. I don't think that's a good idea. He has to build 2 reactors in the back to compensate for the fact that he knows he's about to lose this. So, like, just don't do that, because that's 4,000 metal, or almost 5,000 metal. That's like, how many dogs is that? It's like, at least, like, that's like 15 dogs or something. 15 of these dogs, these hounds. That's a lot of metal that you don't want to lose for no reason. So I'm making a push. I'm just trying to focus on the top. So now I know that my allies down here can focus on the bottom very comfortably. So I try to get it, but these guys are just not shooting for some reason. Also, unfortunately, I changed targets right when I think the last hit would have taken this out. Yeah, I changed targets, they kill it. He body blocks as well, so, you know, good plays by the opponent, but, you know, it's only a matter of time because he's losing on this front, and now these guys are also doing well. So I just need to break this position, and it's like 100% guaranteed that they lose. Because they're losing on all fronts, 100% basically. Alright. When a whole bunch of my sumos come up, that's when it ends, basically. Yeah, not going so well in the other lanes, right? I'm not exactly sure what caused this game to cause our side to win, because there were certainly like little moments where my plays did damage against here, right? But it was probably the eco from this left side, just the economy from these guys over here, just really tipping the scales. But you can see I definitely did not break this line. I held the position, I did my roll. That's what you gotta do. Okay, now I'm gonna get the sumos in position here. Come on me, come on past me, get your sumos in position. Yep, I'm gonna send him in the front and we're gonna push in. He's definitely got a lot of stuff. Like, he was ecoing a little better than me, but with this exposed reactor, it's not so good. Okay, so now I'm gonna slow this down. It's always so laggy. So he tech switched into pawns, which I think the Fiends would have done better here because of this, whatever. But yeah, this time I finally get it. I target the reactor with this Sheldons as well, so like I really want this thing gone. He had to build 2 of these in the back to just cover himself, so I'm just like, why would you build that here? Just build it over here. Yeah, and the game's pretty much over. So now all the positions are losing, this is losing, it's clear at the bottom. This took so much damage, and the game's over. I guess this video didn't like showcase like the things that I wanted to show like in the last video that well, but you know, unfortunate. And that's pretty much gonna be it. I'm just gonna cut it here because there's really nothing more to see here. The game's over. I just want to review what I did in the first video. Basically, there was a player here, the same player position. He decided to just move up here, right? This player, who was in that previous game, was very good. He also moved over here, right? And that left this hole here that neither player would take a look at, and that allows you to stream units in. But this principle could be applied to like any game where, you know, you just have like, I don't know, like over here, you just have like maybe there's a player, there's a player here, there's a player here, and then a player here. This guy moves up, he goes like this. This guy moves up, he goes like this. This guy moves up, and he's like this. So, I mean, it covers like most of the area. But you know, if for some reason these guys are just like over here, you just run by. If one of these opens up, you just run by, which is what I tried to do here. I was able to get some damage on Flash, which, you know, if you double team a person and the ally doesn't respond, you create a defeat in detail situation where you have two players fighting one, and that makes it like much harder on this guy. If he doesn't respond by either counter attacking or defending, you know, it's just a 2v1 that just happens, just a single battle, and it makes it more difficult for the opponent, for the player. So that's, I guess, some tips on how to frontline a little bit, create some space for your backliner to get his tech up. Yeah. All right. Thanks for watching, I guess. Oh, yeah. Don't forget, always use your commander on the front line. You saw at the beginning, this guy did it really well. He put his commander right here, and was able to like really slow down my ability to run through either hole here. But yeah, towards the end, he just moved it back up here, and it was not in a defensive location that could assist the troops. At least when he had army out in the front here. So at some point, I do move my commander back. I forget when exactly, but you know, at a certain point, it's kind of not needed too much. You just cloak it near the front line. So if some big army or Titan or whatever comes up, you just run up and degun it. It's very hard for the opponent to realize it when it's just in the middle of the map cloaked. Like, yeah. All right. Thanks for watching. I guess this is the second episode of like some tips or whatever. Goodbye.